This is a
Good time, Charlie?
production.
On your marks, get set, play.
Hello there.
Good favor.
That I really like.
That is delicious.
Bakers, your time is up.
I mean, isn't it really always dessert week when you in this tent? Just
Except when
like
you
to a
making
certain
tacos.
degree, you know? Welcome back to the tent. It is Crimpity. It's a Great British Bake Off podcast. I host it. I'm Terror713, but I don't do it by myself because I couldn't possibly. So I'm always, as always, I'm joined by the homie Nick Jew.
Finally, balance has been restored to the universe.
I'm not quite there yet, but I'm with you. And my man Tatum216. What's good, baby?
Good evening.
So I didn't understand the syllabub joke at first. So of course I had to go look it up. And syllabub is a sweet dish made by curdling sweet cream or milk with an acid such as wine or cider. It was popular it was a popular British confection from the 16th to the 19th century. It's an actual thing. I thought they was clowning.
That sounds disgusting.
Everything about it sounds awful. just tragedy. It's like, really? They always eating that. This is why y'all sailed the seven seas looking for spice. Because y'all was just fucking up left and right. Good gracious, man. Our remaining bakers in the tent this week is the homie Abdul. It is Carol. It is Dawn. It's Janusz. Not Janus. It's Janus. I want to get his pronunciation right. It's Kevin, it's Maxie, Sandro, and Shabira. And yeah, boy howdy. But speaking of Shabira, because that just happened to work out. Oh, let me see. I should have set this up before then. You know, we got to hit you with a little, the little news story, because that's how we got to get down. So let me get my audio work. Let's see if we can do this the first time. Let's see if this works once.
I believe in you.
Oh,
Holy shit.
There we go.
If this bitch plays right off the rip, then we've done it. Success. Great success, people. All right. And go right. Oh, that was in the middle of it. See, something had to be
But
wrong.
it did play. It did
And
play.
that is this week's edition of... Here we go. Bakers make the world go round. I did not re-record it this week. I should
It's
just
so
do a different
good.
record every week.
No, it's so good.
It's just dumb enough to make me happy. We snagged a story that it's from the good people over at Decider. This is Megan O'Keefe. I don't know Megan's work. I don't know that name. What if Megan's bad and I shouldn't be reading her shit? We hope for the best here. This article is titled "The Great British Baking Show." That's how you already know it's wrong because we call it Bake Off around these parts. Paul and Prue don't understand Shabira's genius.
Well, maybe they're from the UK because that's what they call it over there.
Well, no, they call it Baking Show. We call it it's Bake Off in the UK. If somebody say Baking Show, I know they're only watching it on Netflix.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Thank you. Sorry.
They're not down for the cause. Every single one of the bakers on the Great British Bake Off, I'm just gonna edit their writing going forward, is a perfect and unique flower-covered angel. But this season, I have a soft spot for Shabira Yusof, the Malaysian-born baker who has won me over with her creative ideals, proudly offbeat flavor combinations, and her sunny demeanor. Every week, Shabira attempts a complex concept in the tent, be it savory satay macarons, sweet corn flavored sponge, or this week's watermelon flavored steamed buns. Shabir never half-asses anything. She always brings her A game. The problem is judges Paul Hollywood and Prue Leith can't get on Shabir's wavelength. Because the show is literally called The Great British Bake Off, Shabir and her fellow contestants are held to a standard of baking excellence that is defined by a middle-aged Liverpudlian baker and a South African senior citizen.
Oh my God.
We ain't gonna be out here disrespecting Paul Hollywood and Prue Leith.
Oh my God.
These judges are praising the bakers according to their expertise, yes, but they're also judging according to their individual taste. And Shabir's flavors are well outside Paul and Prue's comfort zone. Every week, the Great British Bake Off, it's more and more obvious to me that Shabir is a genius baker. However, because she's approaching each challenge as an invitation to be creative, she's being punished for her imagination. Yeah, we don't. We'll get into that here when we review this week's episode. It might be built into the DNA of a bake-off that you have to impress the judges, but Shabir is doing something wholly more exciting. She's trying to impress herself. And because of that, I'm afraid that she'll continue to be judged harshly and will be sent home before it's fair. All because Shabir simply has a different palate than Paul and Prue.
Do we want to comment on this now or wait?
We're gonna give it a little bit. We will talk about this when we talk about this show. I'm gonna let this woman get these off. All the way back in the first episode of this season of the Great British Bake Off, Shabir revealed the baking is a sentimental practice for her. Before she left Malaysia for London, her friend showered her with lunch. I don't like that turn of phrase. And they shared a red velvet cake that would become the first cake she ever baked, unlocking what she calls a hidden talent. Flash forward to today, and Shabir is making everything from caramel bombs to steamed watermelon puddings that opened up to look like a cut open watermelon, and using a big fancy steamer, which she says is a big thing in Asia. Indeed, just as every one of Shabir's bakes so far has brought a taste of another hemisphere to the Great British Bake Off, Shabir has used pandam, taro, nasi lemak, prawns, satay, milk tea, and matcha in her bakes. She used bright colors, whimsical designs, and difficult techniques. The problem is Paul and Prue always have something nitpicky to say about her bakes. Okay, this is where I'm going to stop this article. It is a waste of my time and yours. It'll be in the show notes. You can go read it your damn self. That shit just offends me.
Uh-oh.
I love Shabir. We'll talk about this in more detail, but didn't she fucking put corn in a cake?
Thank you.
What's corn?
No, madam, no. Let's hit the ground running. Signature this week, 8 individual steamed puddings. Had 2 hours to complete it. As they spoke about the very ideal of steamed pudding sounds gross to me. I want you to know that. I'm not English. Maybe we've been eating steamed puddings of some sort this whole time. But I was just like, when Paul was so proud, we make some of the best steamed puds in the UK. And I'm like, sure. That's not really for me, my guy. But I'm glad you know that.
Isn't like creme brulee a steamed pudding?
No, because it's not a pudding. A pudding is basically a sponge in this situation. You know what I'm saying? And
Okay.
a creme brulee this is more of a pudding more than anything else. So
is it the baking technique only that it's just that they bake it in a steam bath? Is that what makes it?
I believe that is the whole purpose of in this particular case of a steam puddings. Figgy puddings, a steam pudding, and all your old school English joints, your Christmas joints. So
No.
I get it. A bain marie and some nice can do some things, but like I said, it just I don't know, bro. We bake for a reason. Anyway, Dawn's up first here. Her traditional steamed pudding was going to have an orange sponge with caramelized apples decorated with candied orange peel and served along with a creme anglaise. Sandro was making an apple and cherry crumble pudding. His sponge was topped with apple and cherry crumble and a caramel with cherry liqueur drizzle and served with a side of custard. The point is they had to make, not only did they have to make the steamed pud, they had to make a side. So it's like going to be, in a case, a creme anglaise, a custard, or a caramel sauce of some sort. Carol named hers Little Beauties. It's a ginger spun topped with plum compote, caramelized plums, and chantilly creamed and served with custard on the side. It was immediately when they showed me that woman burning those plums, I'm like, you have nowhere to go but right here in that tent. Your space is very small. How did you get away from it enough that you burnt them plums up? I knew what it was. I was like, she leaving this week. It's just, come on, bro. What I wrote here is everyone is aiming for a light sponge except for Kevin, who decided he was going to let his inner Scotsman shine. Kevin decided he was going to make clootie dumplings. Does clootie sound like something you want to fuck with?
No.
Not in any way, shape, or form. Just so you, the listener, knows, and I mean, because again, they didn't give this little tidbit of information, a clootie, from the Scots word cloot. It's a piece of cloth or leather and a patch or a rag. It's a strip or piece of cloth or rag that is used to make clootie dumplings. So the cloot is literally there for the dumplings. That's what that is made for. It's basically a fruit cake steamed in a cloth. It is what the version Kevin's making, because you're actually supposed to boil it.
Oh my God. My God.
If you know what haggis is.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Imagine its dessert equivalent, and then you have a clootie dumpling.
So haggis is I forgot what's cooking,
Intestines.
but it's cooked in intestines. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
forgot what's inside. It's like, what is it, like a sausage cooked in the set?
It's like suet, oats.
It's like
a
a
whole
hog
bunch of other
maw.
stuff.
A hog maw.
A hog
If
maw
it-
biscuit.
It's like on principle, I would eat haggis, but I know they boil that shit and it don't have no seasoning. Now put some fucking slap your mama on it and put that shit in like a gravy over some rice. I could fade it.
Here, just so we can get it all out there. Haggis is a savory pudding containing sheep's pluck. Sheep's pluck in this case is heart, liver, and lungs.
Yeah, it's awful.
Minced with onion, oatmeal, suet, spices, salt, mixed with a stock, and cooked while traditionally encased in the animal's stomach.
What is suet?
Suet, if I'm not mistaken, is a type of
It's like
grain.
a type of
Let's see
fat.
what it is. Oh no, you're right. It is. Suet is a raw, hard fat or beef, lamb, or mutton found around the loins and the kidneys. Imagine the fat that you got right around here.
So like take the oatmeal out of that, and if it was seasoned correctly, smothered in some gravy, I'm smashing.
You can use some Tony Chachere's.
Yes.
What we usually use suet for here, far as I know, is to feed birds. Like you usually put the seeds and you put it in that block, and it helps them keep healthy throughout the like.
Yeah, when I hear suet, I do think of birdseed. How interesting that it is actually a particular fat from an animal. So Kevin, like Jake said, these are traditionally boiled. He went for trying to steam it in a cloth. They're going to be decorated with an candied orange peel, served with a snifter of whiskey and a creme anglaise. And in my notes, I wrote here, risk like this make me think Kevin is your next baker leaving the tent. We will see what next week brings. Shabir went with watermelon steamed puddings. It's a watermelon sponge that sits on top of a caramel coconut and tapioca biscuit kind of like thing, served with taro ice cream. Something apparently they are not hip to in the UK, as Matt had to explain what it was, and I mean by that taro, and a lychee custard. And I wrote, as soon as she said she was using essence, / extract, I knew what time it was. Because the move is clearly freeze-dried fruit to get the flavors how you want them to go without having the chemical taste.
Especially something as delicate as watermelon. Like watermelon flavor, it's like apple flavor. That shit don't taste nothing like real watermelon.
Like they never even met, for real. So I was like, well, we already see where this is going to go. Janusz went with pina colada puddings, coconut flavored sponge, caramelized pineapples topped with a cream and an umbrella with a pipette of coconut rum, and served with a coconut creme anglaise. And it is here, even as I read that out loud, that I understand where it became. It was far too much coconut. Is what it ends up being when I read that. It's coconut rum, it's coconut sponge, it's this, that, and the third. It's too much going on there, pimp. Maxie went with traditional sticky toffee puddings, and Prue was going up for it. She's like, yo, I hope she make these shits right because I fuck with a sticky toffee pudding. These are dates and golden syrup in the sponge, topped with whipped cream, raspberries, and candy pecans, and served alongside a caramel sauce. Abdul went for fig and date pudding, fig and date sponge topped with white chocolate dipped figs, which were sprinkled with rose petals, along with some isomalt sugar sculptures, and a saffron and cardamom custard. Them shits was pretty.
Yeah.
I saw him sprinkle them little rose petals. I was like, okay, I see you, bruv. This is a note I had to write, and you can tell me I'm wrong. The Steam Queen, Choo Choo, is how I know I'm just a child. Because when she did, and they when he called her the Steam Queen and she go Choo Choo, I was just like, it's okay, girl. You be the Steam Queen. As for judging this particular round, Shabira, they said her design was amazing. The coloring looks great. One clever baker.
It was dope.
The ice cream, fragrant and sensational. I can't believe that this woman, Prue Lee, world famous baker and star of television, has never had taro ice cream. I've had taro ice cream. They make taro ice cream at Mason's over here on the west, I guess near the West Side Market. If you want to get down with some taro ice cream, it's very good. It's weird that I've had taro ice cream and Prue hasn't. I'm nobody. She's somebody. Taste a bit fake, and the essence was, of course, to blame because like Nick just said, watermelon flavor don't taste nothing like watermelon.
Paul told her ass too. That's the thing too. Paul be trying to tell their ass. He told her, and she did exactly what he told her not to do.
Consistently is dropping them little gems on you, trying to let you know what you should not be doing because I am the judge of this, and so you should be doing things based on my judgment because I'm the one judging it. And that's why this woman who wrote that story about how they over here wilding on her, no, they are not. They always give her fucking props for what she does well, and they tell her what she did wrong. Guess what she did wrong? Here she used an extract of essence, and that shit does not work.
And this is the problem with the premise of that article. I was with her, except for the fact that Shabira is the first one to be like, no, it didn't work. No, it was unsuccessful. I understand completely what you're saying every week.
Yeah, because she knows where she goes wrong at, and she knows where she's right at.
Well, she definitely swings for the fences like every time. Like her design work is second to none. I mean, Abdul back though. Abdul back. Dawn's still there. Don't sleep on Dawn. Don't sleep on Dawn's decoration though. That's the only reason. I don't doubt that, but at the same time, like her bake was so perfect that it split open to look like a cracked watermelon. Like,
no, she did that shit. She did that shit, and the fact that she does that theme throughout every week, like melon, corn. Some bull or whatever. Like, I fuck with her, but she's not infallible. And even she will be the first one to admit when she's messed up.
Yep, exactly. Stupid article. Maxie's cream melted, but for once it was the tent's fault, not the baker putting some cream on a warm bake. They were like, it's hot in the tent today. I understand, girl. Good height. Moist but sticky, perfect sticky toffee texture. Just enough nuts to balance it out. A great eat. I mean, come on, bro. Maxie is out here. Dawn, a little uneven looking. Some have more topping than others. The apple is nice and tart. The orange works beautifully with it. Janusz, sponge is a bit like tanning lotion. Very sweet. Overkill. And like I said, I didn't realize until just myself down that, he clearly... coconut, everything is just too much. And so, like I said, a coconut creme anglaise with a coconut rum with a coconut sponge, it's like, nah, bro, you overkill is exactly that. And he overcorrected as it went forward. It was no more errors for Janusz this week.
If you're making like all that coconut, a lime creme anglaise would have hit.
Oh man, now just. It's scrumptious. Kevin, misshapen.
My favorite messy. Word came back. Stodgy.
Yeah.
Too dense. The wrong recipe for this.
Y'all know I go up for Kevin, but why he put them damn orange peels on there like that.
It was thick.
That's the traditional look. He out there hoping he can bring Cluties back. You know what I'm saying?
He just crisscrossed them shits and just sat them on top of the damn thing. It was so terrible.
I think he thought that whiskey was gonna go harder than it did. It's like, bruh, I don't want to eat your Clutie and take a shot of whiskey. No point.
Man.
I kind of think they be trying to play Prue to the left, like just give her something to drink and she'll say,
right? Get her drunk.
Hey, I like a woman who knows she like to drink and she cool with it. So
yeah, they do too, but they playing it like two left. Like I'm gonna give her an extra shot because I know she love it. She loves to flavor things too. Like just don't be like trying to get her drunk and like grandma sit in the corner now. No, don't do that.
So, in addition to burning the shit out of some plums at the start of this challenge, Carol did not get hot enough water going in her pan, so her bain marie was not hot enough to steam the puddings correctly. And when she flipped them hoes over and tapped on the bottom, what she got was not baked, not steamed, wet, raw puddings.
My God.
All looked absolutely. They looked awful. None of them, like you could see when she was cutting them out the little container and they was just jiggling. I was like, them shits is not cooked. Them shits is
That's
not
when
cooked.
I knew her ass was going home. I was like, oh, your ass going home.
So they managed to find some that was cooked enough. Taste delicious. Sharpness of the plum delicious. But them hoes is flat. And so they could not give her no love. Because they were
for her.
Yeah, hey, I feel bad for her. I truly do. That's my kid's favorite baker on this series.
No,
can't call it, man.
I fuck with Carol, kind of tough. Yeah,
Lee loved the long shots.
Sandro looks quite sweet and tempting. Sponge looks good.
Mm-hmm. Sure
Cherry,
does.
apple.
Sure does.
Cherry, apple, spice blend, and custard work beautifully together. The crumble's perfect. The custard's perfect. The cherry liqueur is perfect. This man deserved a handshake. And
now,
Paul
why the
is being
fuck
stingy.
didn't Paul shake his hand?
I thought about that. Well, because his hand was inside of his apron. I was like, man, take your hand.
It
out,
always
put it on the
is.
table.
It always are.
It's how he keep himself probably like just, aligned, you know what I'm saying? So he ain't nervous. But all you got to do is, Paul, reach that hand out, and I'm telling you, he coming out that pocket hella fast. It's like all he wants is a handshake.
I know.
Poor soul. I feel so bad for him. I'm like, you played him, man. You played my man. And you know you played my man, so it's okay. He'll get there someday. Tactical this week made me laugh so hard.
They were wrong for this.
Set by Prue. Prue won the lemon meringue pie and gave him 2 hours to do it. Prue's instructions included this method, and it said, make a lemon meringue pie. That was it. Pastry shell has to be blind baked beforehand, or you will have a soggy bottom. Meringue is expected to be crisp on top, but marshmallow-esque consistency inside. Your lemon curd, or whatever it's not curd because it's not curd, but your lemon should be soft but firm. It's such a basic bake that Prue expects them all to be able to body it. No, that did not happen. I can tell you that. Matt and Shabir's sweet corn joke did make me chuckle right here. I was like, that's what's up, girl. You know what it is. That's another reason. Like I said, she know what it is, bruh. And she can even joke about it. So the sweet corn lemon meringue pie would be an awful.
And she would have done that shit too.
Shit, don't. Like I said, she was just sitting there like, oh, okay, everybody's blind baking. I guess I'm about to do that too.
But you know what? Props to her, because I would have just cried. I would have sat the fuck down, made some tea, and been like, I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know.
Oh my gosh. Anything in technical that got you thinking?
No, not really.
Well,
Yeah.
that was probably the roughest technical I've ever seen as far as like directions go.
Mhm.
Um, I kind of feel like Maxie could have came a little higher in that technical. Um,
There's a couple of things I was just like, just the way it was judged. I get it, I guess, but like I said, they need to make a sweet short crust. You know what I'm saying? Pie shell. They all know how to do that. They do all know how to do that.
yeah,
Need to make a meringue. They all know how to do that.
I
The
felt bad
lemon
for
part,
Abdul.
and how to bake it was basically the challenge here. And there you go. So let's
Yeah,
get to our judging. Sandro was up first. His look neat, nice color, no leaks, a slightly soggy base, but a nice tart lemon filling, and the meringue was good. Abdul's base cracked as it was coming out of the oven. It's not that he cracked it or it was baked in a weird way. It is a not a springform pan, but I don't know what kind of pan that is. But basically, the pan kind of slipped a little bit and it hit the shell and it cracked on the way out. And they noticed it. They said it cracked on it. They said it clearly cracked on its way out of the pan. So they kind of understood that. Because a different kind of crack would have mean it would have leaked, and it certainly wasn't doing that. A great base, looks luscious. What a turn of phrase, luscious. And the lemons were, of course, tart. Dawn's a mess. Pastry shell is all over the place and falling apart. Just not enough filling. Why this is of an issue is because Dawn says she makes these shits all the time.
All the time.
Just her regular thing, and that's exactly what it is. It's like, how they say you most likely to get into a car accident when you're close to home. It's because you get so comfortable around your way, you don't be thinking. And she just knew that she knew how to do it and started fucking up from the word go. And you feel bad for her because she just couldn't get it dialed in. Janusz is very good. Janusz made a perfect lemon meringue pie, y'all. Just came through, and he knew it too. He knew it off the rip. He was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty good at this." Because he just rattled off a recipe to the camera, where everybody else is sitting there like, "Ooh, is that what we do?" So I was like, that was a wild one. So Janusz knew what it was. Carol, not neat. Cracks all around. Meringue looks nice, but a bit soggy. Kevin, holes all in the base, falling apart. Prue enjoys the meringue, however. Shabir, walls too thick, clumsy, soggy underneath, pretty much raw. Tart enough, but far too short a blind bake. Yeah, it came out the oven looking pale as a ghost. And it's like they said, the walls too thick as they described it. Maxie looks like a patchwork quilt, and I'm not sure if they meant that in a good way or a bad way. Did she hit the meringue in a way that she was trying to do something, or did she mess something up?
Yeah, I don't know what that meant. But for the most part, when they say shit like that, it ain't never nice.
Yeah. Well, as it all went, Shabir came in last. Too thick, too raw, which I have wrote the Tayro 713 story.
Too thick,
too raw. Dawn, the filling was a little narrow, which is just them being so sweet to say it. That shit was basically free of filling. It was mostly a meringue pie, not no lemon. Carol, pastry all over the place, broken off. Then Kevin is in fifth, Sandra's fourth, Maxie's third. Now, what would you have done? Where would you have placed
Maxie?
Yeah.
From the looks of the pie, I probably would have put her second.
Really? Okay. Abdul, pretty good, just a little broken up. Janusz, a perfect lemon meringue pie. Because he came through with it, man. He did the thing, and it must be respected. Nick Jew, were you showstop this week?
Friends. Yes, but no. I'm always impressed by that little thing they do when they bake something through all the way. Like, that's cool. But, like, is it me? Or are the showstoppers just kind of underwhelming this cycle?
They'll pick it up as it goes on.
Yeah, and so We literally said this last week. What we knew it was going to be. It was going to be some gelatin ass shit that somebody was going to use too much gelatin. Like I said, we walked through this last. If you listen to last week's episode, we knew what it was going to be this week, and they came out and proved us right. It's just going to be people using too much gelatin or not enough gelatin, and it was just going to be what made or broke these bakes. But this week's showstopper was a hidden surprise mousse-based dessert that also required them to have 3 further dessert elements with 4.5 hours to complete. Too much gelatin is the enemy of a nice mousse. Just want y'all to know that. Carol named hers Strawberry Fields. It's going to be a chocolate and strawberry mousse surrounding a red velvet strawberry. So what it is, basically, they want them to put something in there that when you cut into it, you'll be like, oh, hey, shit, that was this. In Carol's case, a strawberry. Shabir said this. What she wants her dessert to do, and she says she wants it to provide a pleasurable, tingling feeling. She returned to the melon patch for her showstopper with her B positive dessert. On top it was a jasmine jelly with a biscuit bee in it, a melon mousse surrounding bees and plus signs. It was because she made a B plus joke, B positive. And decorated with honeycomb candy surrounding it. Not once did they mention the honeycomb candy. Trust me, I've watched the episode 3 times. But honeycomb candy is fun to watch people make. You know what I'm saying? That you boil the sugar and then you hit it with baking soda and it flops right up. It's neat. I don't know. They probably filmed it and didn't think much of it, but I think I would have made for a fun little bit of edit to have show how they got to it. Kevin, once again, I do not like his title. What the Dog Dug. A yard, aka a garden, because they call it a garden over there, made with banana mousse, chocolate mousse, creme mousseline surrounding a vanilla sponge bone. It actually I like the idea. I'll go with that. Just didn't like its title. Dawn was going for a woodland mousse dessert, a lime yogurt mousse surrounding a raspberry mousse shaped like a toadstool with lemon jelly flowers on either side of the toadstool atop a hazelnut dacquois. Y'all know what a dacquois is?
No.
I feel like we've talked about it on here. Yeah, we've talked about it, but I don't remember.
A dacquois is a French dessert cake made with layers of almond and hazelnut meringue and whipped cream or buttercream on a buttery biscuit base. But the term dacquois can also refer to just the nut meringue layer itself, which is what I believe Dawn was going for her forced floor. So, word to her, Dawn on the dacquois, which is one of the French words that they are forced to pronounce right because ain't no English way you're going to get to it. They are made to say it correctly. Sandro, it's a mousse world. A globe made of white chocolate mousse surrounding a lemon sponge, which itself surrounds a prosecco and fruit jelly core with a panna cotta in there somewhere as well. Prue straight up told him, I don't think you can do this. And Sandro took that personally. I just want y'all to know that. Abdul came through with a little galaxy. He made a blackberry mousse surrounding an almond crunch sponge with little cake pop planets throughout it, filled with a yuzu curd, with the entire thing covered in a mirror glaze and more cake pops decorating the top of the cake. Yanush made a cake within a cake. It's a Roy G. Biv colored layers of cake made to look like a cupcake with white and red whipped cream in a chocolate sponge box surrounded by chocolate mousse, then decorated in piped Roy G. Biv, rainbow colors. Y'all know what I'm saying. And I didn't like that he went, well, we'll get to it. We'll talk about the jelly judging. Sandro's jelly set where Dawn's was a bit wobbly. And I like that they did that comparison. Like, look, it can be done clearly in the same amount of time. What about yours did you do wrong that he did right? You know what I'm saying? It's just a question. Maxie went with a sunset surprise where she made a lemon Swiss roll, which represented the sun, and put that in the center, surrounded by a strawberry mousse, a vanilla mousse with a layer of lemon curd. It's Maxie's first time making a mousse. In my notes, I wrote, I don't like the Janusz went for drips 2 weeks straight. And I also said, Abdul clearly used far too much gelatin as I watched him decorate it. But am I right? Well, let's go to judging and find out. Abdul, a beautiful miracle glaze. Like Prue was so taken aback by how pretty his cake looked. And if you look at it, yes, it's absolutely gorgeous. The mousse is lovely. The yuzu curd, too much gelatin. The marble effect, like rubber. So yeah, I knew he had used too much gelatin, and the judging backed that claim up. You should have saw it. When he was pouring, I was like, no, it did look like rubber. It looked like he's like a melted balloon. It was, I don't know, bruh. It's like I get it, but y'all got to get that dialed in. But whatever. Maxie, I love that Prue described it. It was so exuberant. That's how it was really beautifully decorated, y'all. The Swiss roll sunset was perfect. The lemon curd, on the other hand, was too gelatinous. But the mousses Prue described as absolutely beautiful. Again, it's the first time this woman has made mousse and actually knocked it out the park. So I love it. Kevin's looks funny in a good way, not a bad way. This situation, Prue was really impressed with his overall look. Unfortunately, the cake was tough. The chocolate mousse was heaven, but the banana mousse, once again, too much gelatin. Janus, wonderful, strong colors. Mousse and sponge good, wonderful mixture of flavors. Like I said, Janus came to not play after that poor showing in the signature. So I was glad he came through. And I was like, oh, yeah, you could easily be Star Baker this week. Shabir, her B template lost its way, is how Paul described it. But the ideal is sweet. The textures were perfect, but the flavor was, in this case, far too subtle because she just went with the natural flavor of melon. And like Nick said earlier, watermelon don't be doing that. Freeze-dried fruits. Like I said, we watched it before. It works well. That's how you end up getting the intensity of the flavor that you want, but without it tasting like, a bunch of chemicals. So, tell you, she'll get that dialed in.
But the one
Hopefully.
thing I didn't know how she got back together was that B. Because the first time when she was taking it towards the refrigerator, it started to separate again. So I don't know how she got that shit together. That was a miracle.
I mean, she just she two-picked them hoes down like she was like you ever dissect the frog in school? Hit them pins in just the right places and made that shit sit right. But they knew it because, like I said, it was already kind of broken up as it was coming out the mold that she had baked it in. So it was already broken in that regard. It might be she should have made several of those. That way she had some backups. Also, you know how you want to float stuff in Jell-O? You got to wait till it's a little set up before you go putting it in there. And she did the opposite of that. She just poured the shit right on top of it. I'm like, that's not going to work like you think it's going to work. But we ain't all, raised in America learning how to, our Jell-O techniques. So that's just on me. Sandro's cake looks amazing. Absolutely astonishing. To make that with mousse is impressive. Chocolate mousse is mousse-like, light, and perfect. Love the textures and enjoyed the flavors as well because Sandro came through this week kicking down doors.
And
be respected. And I just think it was gorgeous. He made a whole ass globe out of mousse. It's like insane. Trust me, I've seen a couple people try to make some mousse things, spherical mousse things on the show. It never works. It's always either too much jello, so it's just a rubber ball, or gelatin, forgive me, or too little, and it just runs all over the table and people be crying because they didn't get it right.
Yeah, because usually a couple times throughout the seasons, they do that the one thing where they put it in the bowl and they make the jelly rolls and they cut them. Yeah. And then the trick is to let it set. Then you got to turn it over for when you're presenting. And a lot of crying all the time with that.
Carol looks very 70s. Another return of the Fanny Craddock joke, which we talked about a few weeks back. So go back and look. I've told you who Fanny Craddock was. Strawberry mousse was fantastic. The chocolate one, unfortunately, too gelatinous. And just want you to know that is 3 strikes for Carol. 3 strikes. Just going to remind you of that before we get any further.
And it looked decent.
Also,
it kind of looked decent too. Poor thing. It's just like one major element in each of her bakes was just fucked up this week.
You know what I'm saying? So her mousse is too gelatinous, and they said the cake was tough as well. So it's like, 3 out of the things you tried to do, 2 out of the 3 things you tried to do was not working. So just pointing that out to y'all. Dawn, the way they describe this is gone a bit wayward. But they was like, so wait, that's supposed to be a mushroom? She's like, yeah. And what's that right on the side? There's supposed to be some flowers. Well, shit does not look like flowers. She goes, but I want to leave them in there because she appreciates, she knew the sharpness of the jelly would go well with the mousse. And the judges agreed. The sharpness of the jelly is delicious. The mousses were creamy and a great texture. The mousse and the dacquois together were perfect. But of course, no real surprise. And because, nothing worked out for her design-wise. Her saving grace, in my opinion, and of course everybody, you know what I'm saying, is just how good it was. The shit was good. It was ugly as sin, but it was tasty. So you can't. So like sometimes that'll cover up all the all sins. So that's how Dawn made it out alive this week. Trust. I know she was on the man. And Kevin, anyway. Star Baker this week is the Globetrotter himself. My man Sandro. And he earned it. He may not have got that handshake, but he got that damn Star Baker. And I shouldn't be proud of a stranger, but I was. So there you go. Sent home this week was, of course, the 3-striker Carol, who I told you was going home.
She needed to take her ass home. I don't even know why they were trying to pretend like Dawn was going home. Like, no, she needs to take her ass home.
As with nearly every baker, she reached the limit of her technical abilities.
Yeah.
Not knowing that water wasn't hot enough, or just not caring that water was hot. Everybody else you saw, they actually, because of course they filmed it, they showed them running them taps for a while, letting that water get good and hot, and there you go. And then she just turned the left tap on, filled that thing up, and threw it in the oven. I'm like, no, baby. None of that
and she
right.
knew. That was what baffled me. She totally knew.
Yes, she knew because she knew. And it is sad. She said she'd go home and go weed the garden. And that's about right. Go ahead and do that. Go get yourself some time at home and know that you did pretty well and made it 5 weeks into the Great British Bake Off and did okay. Like I said, it's not, this was it. This is where, like I said, she reached the limit of her expertise and was sent on her merry way. Now, as I watch the show, I am way more excited for Abdul than I was early on. I truly think Kevin's going home this week. He's a risk taker in the worst way. Where Shabira does interesting things, Kevin just be like, I'm trying to bring the Clooney back. Like, bruh, nobody wants that. Yo Scotsmans don't want that. So why you think you're gonna make fetch happen? You simply aren't. And next week's theme is Halloween week. A theme I have no recollection of ever doing in the past. So I'm like, that's gonna be in theory, it should be very fun. And we'll see how it all plays out now, won't we?
I think that like Abdul, I'm ready for Abdul to like put his foot on the gas because he has the intangibles, as they say.
Yeah.
I'm just ready for him to. Probably bread week was his week, unfortunately, but I'm waiting for my man to pull up. I'm not saying that they have completely righted the wrongs of Mexican week, but see what happens when you go back to your lane. What a lovely little episode this was.
It really was. And I feel like they even knew because Matt pointed out that he goes, oh, guess what? It's a baking show. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to bake. I'm like, yes, Matt, which y'all didn't do last week. y'all. So.
I do like Abdul, but I kind of feel like he's one of those people that we've seen throughout the seasons that is good at decorating. But when it comes to the baking, that's the part he has to catch up on because he's the only person this season else is like, hey, taste this, man. This ain't good.
Well,
he got COVID, He got COVID.
He did really well in signature. He did really well in technical as well this week. Like I said, it's just that getting that gelatin dialed in.
Yeah,
he will. It's one of the things where like I can see you fixing that. I can see, like I said, I know Shabira will get right going forward as well. I know she sees where her errors were at, and it's like, okay, I need to work on these things. And I feel like she certainly will coming up on this next week. Let's see. So.
I'm not saying Shabir should have went home, but if you recall, my man Jurgen had one bad week and they sent him home. So you one of the best bakers in the tent, and you have 1 week where you shit the bed for every bake, and you're not even in the conversation to go home. I mean, well, Paul mentioned her. Paul mentioned her, but you could tell he wasn't being serious. He was just like, Shabir fucked up this week.
Well, when they let him go, that was like during wasn't that the second from the last episode?
It was, yes, it was. So
I still don't think he should have went home. Justice for Jurgen.
I'll
never forget.
What I'm very happy about is that of the 7 remaining bakers in this tent, 4 of them are people of color.
Yes,
I go way up for that, but also, you know what I'm saying. I know we think we know Sandro is out, but I've never, you know what I'm saying, I ain't seen it anywhere, so I can't call it if Sandro's out. But at least one out gay man and another who is gay, I have not come across him saying, "Hey, I'm gay," but everybody, the internet seems to know he has said that somewhere, so I trust them saying it's like dope. And an older lady. I'm not saying she's seen I ain't really dig the joke of Paul calling her mom. That was weird. Like, bro, that's lightweight disrespectful. But she seemed to let it walk, so I guess we'll let it walk. But
he lucky too, because Carol. Because Dawn is a shooter. She quick with it.
You know what I'm saying?
He's like, I'm just as old as you.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm like, bro. I like, man, bro, I ain't that much older. You probably like if I looked it up, it's probably just a couple of years difference. But I don't know. I am of course excited for next. I did not check our poll results. I guess I should do that, shouldn't I? I wrote that poll in a way I was unhappy with. So if the poll results are weird, funky,
I didn't know how to answer. Yeah, I didn't know how to answer.
Yeah. That's me. My apologies. That poll literally 50-50, so I can't do nothing with it. And like I said, once I published it, and I was like, that's written in a funky way. And I couldn't go back. You can't go back and fix it. So I was stuck. Yeah. So I don't even know what this week's poll could be, but we'll figure it out here in post. But that was week 5 in the tent. Dessert week is gone. Next week is Halloween. And that is exciting for what it could possibly be. But I don't know. I don't know who does and does not celebrate Halloween around the planet. So I don't want to make leaps and assumptions about how it is celebrated. And so we'll see how it goes down. But that is Nick Jew.
Yay, Sandro Starbaker.
Correct. That is Tatum 216.
Maxie, always the star of my heart.
Love you some Maxie. Sandro deserves a handshake. Damn it. I am the Internet Sarah 713. We will catch you in the tent next week. Until then, I don't know. Get your bake on, man. Just get all fabulous with it.
What happened to you? You used to be beautiful.